Football, the Unyielding Card Master Strikes Back. Episode 131. This judgment is too controversial, and the fourth official has come forward. On the playing field, because Jiang Ning's goal against the Argentine team was invalid, it caused many discontent. Some fans who know the rules can still look at it rationally. But many fans who don't know why are really anxious. All stand up in protest. It's a life and death battle. Any idea what this goal means for Argentina? This is an important match for the ticket to the round of 16. Every goal counts and determines who qualifies. But such a hard-won goal was invalidated by Jiang Ning's unhesitating blow. How can this be endured? However, how this ball should be calculated should still be decided according to the rules of football and the will of the referee. The players of the Argentine team also approached Jiang Ning, hoping that Jiang Ning could retract the penalty. They know the rules of football, and in the face of such a goal, the referee does not have to blow the invalidity. But they forgot that the referee is Jiang Ning, and this is also on the field of the World Cup. Rules are rules, and Jiang Ning has always maintained a serious attitude towards punishment, not counting or not counting. Soon this move caught everyone's attention. The fourth referee also played a role at this time, watching the replay carefully. 2 minutes after 24, the fourth official on the sidelines also raised his hand on behalf of the entire referee team to signal that this talk ball is invalid. Jiang Ning's referee's decision, no problem. Wow, there was an uproar at the scene, but what if it was even dissatisfaction? The rules are there, and Jiang Ning is just making a judgment according to the rules. If you have to blame it, it's only the bad luck of the Argentine team. Inside the Binghua studio, Su Dong and Fan Ziyi both showed shocked expressions. Kicking the ball to the blast is indeed rare. Even if it is them, they are rarely seen in the game, let alone the goal is good. Su Dong, dear audience, I believe everyone has seen the situation in the venue. Su Dong, Jiang Ning awarded this goal invalid, and his attitude is very firm. Su Dong, we can see that many Argentine fans seem to be very dissatisfied. Su Dong, first of all, we can be sure that Jiang Ning's punishment is absolutely fine. Su Dong, but I'm also a little curious, what is the definition of football rules regarding football being kicked out? Su Dong, please also ask Fan to solve the confusion for all of us. Fan Ziyi, okay, as a veteran who has played on the court, let me talk to you about this. Fan Ziyi, I really rarely have the opportunity to discuss this situation with everyone. Fan Ziyi, Messi is indeed powerful, and the explosive power of his legs is estimated to be able to kick a cow to death. Su Dong, ahem, that, fan guidance, or talk about the rules of football? Fan Ziyi, haha, it's a little far away, and it's off track as soon as I say it. Fan Ziyi, yes, according to FIFA's latest customized football rules document, which has detailed additions and some modifications to the special situation of football being kicked out. Fan Ziyi, first of all, let's be clear, that is, how effective goals are defined. Fan Ziyi, the definition of an effective goal must be a complete football and completely skim the goal line. Fan Ziyi, so before, there was a situation where after the football was kicked on the goalpost and exploded, some of it entered the goal and some did not. Fan Ziyi, according to the previous regulations, if the football that enters the goal line exceeds half of the overall volume of the football, it is considered a goal. Fan Ziyi, but not anymore. Now it has to be a full football. Su Dong, so, if the football is damaged before entering the goal, then it is not a goal? Fan Ziyi, yes, but if the football is the first goal and then explodes, it is still a goal. Su Dong, hehe, say so, but the possibility of the football exploding again after entering is very low. Fan Ziyi, that's right, in fact, the biggest controversy about Jiang Ning's penalty is when this football was damaged. Fan Ziyi, in addition, this football was only kicked out, but it did not explode into several parts. Fan Ziyi, in a sense, it is also a complete hole into the goal. Su Dong, huh? That seems to be true. So why doesn't this ball count? Fan Ziyi, it's because of the latest FIFA regulations. Fan Ziyi, as long as the football is damaged before the goal, even if it is just a leak, it cannot be regarded as a goal. Fan Ziyi, although it may sound unreasonable, regulations are regulations. Fan Ziyi, we can see through the picture playback that in fact, the moment Messi touched the ball, the football had already leaked. Fan Ziyi, in other words, the football is damaged before it enters the goal. Fan Ziyi, so Jiang Ning is just strictly in accordance with the rules of football to judge the penalty. There is no problem. Su Dong, understood. It turns out that the mountain thanks to Fan for the explanation. Su Dong, okay, let's take a look at what the friends in the live broadcast room think of this ball. At this time, in the Huaxiao live broadcast room, barrage is flying, constantly discussing the topic of this goal. Messi is worthy of being the king of the ball. Kick the ball out, how powerful this is. The football was kicked out, in addition to showing that Messi has great strength. It also shows that the game is very intense. Uncle who is so strong. I thought he was an old man walking around. That's the peak of Messi. You haven't seen Messi. It is said that Brother Ning is professional. How strict is his sentence? How can it be wrong? It can only be said that the Argentine team is too unlucky to finally have a goal. Did you see the look in Messi's eyes when he looked at Brother Ning? What a grudge. The king of the ball is also governed by our Huaxia people. I never dreamed that we also have such a highlight moment in Huaxia. Call brother Chan back, protect brother Ning. I see that the agenting fans are a little irritable. People watching the live broadcast also talked about it. For Jiang Ning's firm judgment, it won the praise of fans in the live broadcast room. The game continues. It was already the 45th minute and the regular time for the first half was coming to an end. Jiang Ning signaled to the assistant referee and let the first half of the game stop 8 minutes of stoppage time. Another shocked voice came from the scene. The fans didn't understand. Just now, because of that old man's cardiac arrest, the game was suspended for at least 10 minutes. Coupled with other wasted time, doesn't it take more than 15 minutes of injury time? But Jiang Ning only gave 8 minutes. What does that mean? Does the 290 referee want the match to end as soon as possible? He doesn't want to see goals from both sides? It must be carrying private goods, it must be selfish. However, the players did not express any expression or dissatisfaction with this injury time, because this is also related to the latest football rules document given by FIFA. The latest rules state, regular injury time only includes player injuries, kickoff delays after goals, 30-second substitutions, medical team entry, and more. That is to say, according to the rules, the time wasted by the elderly is not allowed to increase the injury stoppage time, but there is also a supplement to the regulations. That is, if there is a waste of game time outside the above circumstances, the referee can give a certain amount of injury time according to the situation. Therefore, Jiang Ning gave 8 minutes of stoppage time is already trying his best to give both sides time. Many fans are unclear about the rules, and naturally do not understand Jiang Ning's behavior. But all of Jiang Ning's behaviors are in line with the rules, and these will also be clarified by the Interfootball Federation after the game. Beep. The game continues. The Mexico team holds the ball and quickly approaches the half of the Argentine, but they lack firepower on the offensive end, and the ability and awareness of the strikers are slightly worse, so they have not been able to create any good chances. And until now, the physical strength of the entire Mexico team has decreased significantly. They are tired. The high-pressure pressing throughout the first half made their movements and speed a little unable to keep up. Even if you meet some good opportunities, it is difficult to grasp them. As for the Argentine, after the goal was cancelled just now, they have not been able to organize an effective attack. Time passed slowly, and it was close to the end of the first half. Episode 132. Brother Ning shot. The small card will be there. The red card shakes. Let me go beep. As time passed, Jiang Ning blew the whistle for the end of the first half of the game. Throughout the first half, neither side scored, and both players worked hard but failed to score a single point. At the end of the first half, the score was still 0-0. In addition, because of the high-pressure pressing tactics of the Mexico team, the game in the first half was also cut to pieces. The Argentines repeatedly tried to organize an attack but were unsuccessful. But the Mexico team also failed to reap the benefits, consuming a lot of physical strength and failing to take the lead. In the second half, the situation of the Mexico team, which cannot continue to be supported physically, will probably be even more difficult. Whoops! There was a round of applause. Fans on both sides are cheering for their players. After all, neither side has scored yet, and they are still on the same starting line. So on a psychological level, fans on both sides are quite relaxed. The only thing they can do now is cheer up their players. However, among the fans on both sides, there is also a special group of existences. That's a group of fans from Huaxia, led by Brother Chen. It occupies an extremely eye-catching area in the audience. How to say it? I don't know if it was intentional or unintentional. Brother Chan they sat in the center of the meeting of fans on both sides. In the audience, the fans wore Argentines' blue and white plaid jerseys, or were the dark green jersey of the Mexico team, but in this neat and uniform color matching, mixed with a group of Chinese people wearing yellow tops. Yellow? What color scheme is this? Referee's uniform. Don't mention how tired and crooked the fans on both sides around are. We are all fans and support our team. What are you doing? I haven't seen you guys like this. A group of Huaxia people wearing referee-like clothes crowded among them. Doesn't this affect people watching the game? But don't say it, it's really bluffing. This led to the fact that near this area, fans on both sides were exceptionally rational and did not even dare to swear words. No way, this group of people can't afford to offend. This group of Huaxia people knew at a glance that they were fans of the Huaxia referee in the field, a support group. What if you offend them and the referee puts small shoes on your team? Very humiliated. If it is the opposing fan, scold when it should be scolded, laugh when it should be laughed. It's all enemies anyway, but this group of people is different, they support the referee. Fans on both sides dare to offend the existence. Who is this to reason with? Especially during the first half of the game, Jiang Ning sounded the whistle, gave cards, and awarded penalties. Fans in other positions are unhappy. That's called a disobedience, but here? Silent. The fans here have to hold back, and from time to time they have to look at the money-returning brothers, for fear of upsetting this group of people. So whenever Jiang Ning awarded penalties to players on both sides, the fans here were silent and did not dare to scold if they wanted to. But the fans are silent, does not mean that they will be silent when they return the money. Every time Jiang Ning sounded the whistle, the brother Chen and the Huaxia fans here would burst into shocking applause. The atmosphere is like a festival. The gong and drum are ringing. Walking on air, Jiang Ning whistled. They were as excited as if they saw that their star was about to attack. Don't mention how responsive the fans around are. You guys are happy. But every time you are happy, you are standing above the pain of our fans around you. The fans blushed one by one, but they dared to be angry and did not dare to speak. If the opposing fans are okay, but the referee is the one who supports them. Do you dare to provoke? Brother Ning is mighty. Domineering my brother Ning, Huasha Ning Mei's group, Carl Branch, came to cheer. Brother Ning shot, the small card will be there. The red card shakes, let me go. Huasha Dragon Soul, rush to the world. Brother Qian waved the Chinese flag in his hand and danced violently. Around it, nearly 1,000 Huasha fans are uniform. The Chinese fans who came to the Carl World Cup this time are visibly skyrocketing. All of them came to Carl country specially to support Jiang Ning, and brother Qian also has a great appeal here, gathering all the fans of Huasha. This is the beautiful scenery in the stadium. At this time, Jiang Ning, who was preparing to end the game in the arena, was stunned, and then turned to look in the direction where brother Qian and the others were. When Jiang Ning saw the Chinese flag waving in the audience, and a group of Huasha fans wearing yellow referee shirts, he was also slightly stunned, but soon Jiang Ning reacted and nodded in the direction of the Huasha fans. Wow, brother Ning is looking at us. Brother Ning nodded at us. He saw us, domineering my brother Ning. Rest assured to make a bold judgment, you have us behind you, the strongest referee in Huasha, who dares to disobey the World Cup. Because of you, it's not far away. Huasha Jiang Ning, it belongs to you best. In the audience, these Chinese words quickly attracted Jiang Ning's attention. Jiang Ning smiled gently, and being able to hear the familiar Chinese language in the Carl World Cup also made him feel warm in his heart. Immediately, Jiang Ning nodded again in the direction of the Huasha fans, before turning around and walking to the sidelines. And the on-site director also keenly discovered the existence of Huasha fans, so not only gave enough shots to brother Qian and others, but also switched the picture to Jiang Ning. At this time, Oria has been waiting on the sidelines. After Jiang Ning walked down, she immediately greeted her with a smile and led Jiang Ning back to the referee's lounge. But this scene made the audience in the Huasha live broadcast room explode. Inside the Huasha live broadcast room, the barrage is dense, to the extreme. Huh? Who is that woman? Brother Ning, be careful. The eyes of those ladies looking at you are wrong. That's the organizer's staff? Why did he smile so much at brother Ning? Jimei, in 5 minutes, I want to know all about this woman. I said that you idiots can be leisurely, and the woman is the staff of the organizer. That is, you don't know how to mix blindly. Don't spoil brother Ning's good deeds. Brother Ning, this is winning glory for the country. Conquering the Yanmar has more face? You all care about that woman, only am I envious of brother Qian. Can you go to the scene to cheer for brother Ning? Brother Qian is also too damaged. One by one, they are dressed like minions, and the surrounding ball puzzles are many. Put on a little yellow suit and dress up like the whole audience can't afford to offend. Capture the bamboo shoots. Brother Ning was taken away by that lady. What's the whole thing? Brother Ning should take care. At this time, the official has also released the data of the first half of the game. Possession, Argentine 69%, Mexico 31%. Number of shots, Argentines team 2 times, Mexico team 2 times. Number of shots on positive, Argentines team 2 times, Mexico team 1 time. Number of passes, Argentines 565 and Mexico's 289. Number of corners, Argentines team 1 time, Mexico team 2 times. Number of fouls, Argentines team 4 times, Mexico team 19 times. Number of yellow cards, 1 for the Argentine team and 3 for the Mexico team. Number of red cards, Argentine team 0, Mexico team 0. Judging from the statistics of the first half, the performance of both sides can really be used. It's miserable. In the entire first half of the game, there were only 4 shots on goal. This is undoubtedly very bad for countless fans. How many people stayed up late to watch this game, but the performance of both teams almost made them doze off. So unfriendly. It's so unexciting. According to the official data given before the game, the probability of winning this match is 51.4%. The probability of a tie is 31.3%. The probability of Mexico winning is 17.3%. This data largely explains the strength gap between the two sides. But the result? The Argentine team played extremely hard. The same is true of the Mexico team. In this way, it is really difficult to say what situation the life and death battle between the two sides will lead towards. Whether it is the Pampas Eagle spreading its wings and flying high, or the Mexico team continuing the title of Top 16 Mad Devils. The second half of the game will bring the answer. Episode 133. Such an obvious sliding shovel. Directly pull out the cards. Intermission. Players from both sides entered the lounge. These 15 minutes are crucial for both teams. It is also an opportunity for the managers of the two teams to make corresponding adjustments to the situation in the first half, and the two sides play. It's up to you to adjust your tactics. In fact, many problems can be seen from the data of the first half of the game. A lot of fouls, very few shots on goal. The Mexico team uses crazy scramble tactics, and even the foul tactics of the human sea, constantly delaying the attack of the Argentine team. But such a price is also very high. Although the Argentine team also had only 2 shots on goal, the number of fouls was only 4. What about the Mexico team? 19 fouls, plus 3 yellow cards. What a shocking number. If it goes on like this, not to mention whether they can physically hold on, I'm afraid that just eating cards will be enough for them. The Mexico team's attempt to use such tactics to shorten the gap in strength between the two sides did work in a short period of time, but in the second half it was hard to say. Their fitness is the biggest problem, and the head coach of the Argentine team will definitely make targeted adjustments. So, if nothing else, the second half of the game will be very exciting. And as the players left, the football babies also rushed to the field, bringing passionate dancing to the fans. The flames of war gradually faded. Not only the players are adjusting, but the fans on both sides are also recuperating in the second half of the game, which is the real moment of life and death. Time passed, and the 15 minutes of intermission flew by. The players from both sides came on the field again and stood in formation. From the perspective of the players on the field, the Argentine team continued the lineup of the first half in the second half and did not make personnel changes. However, the Mexico team has made adjustments. Their formation changed from the previous 442 to 433. The midfield forward line was replaced by a man, which increased the firepower on the offensive end. This is going to fight. Their physical strength can't last long, so they simply strengthen their firepower on the offensive end and get ahead as soon as possible. It can be seen that the head coach of the Mexico team is going to make a desperate bet, and the style of play is very aggressive. Soon, Jiang Ning also returned to the arena with the referee team. Beep. After checking the time, Jiang Ning blew the whistle, signaling the start of the second half. Team Mexico with the ball. Football is pushed fast. From the moment the whistle sounded in the second half, the Mexico team showed a strong desire to attack. It can be seen from the position of their front that more troops are invested during the attack. The front pressed very close. This is intended to storm. Boom. Jimenez got the ball and immediately chose to force a breakthrough. Lozano stepped forward, and the two quickly cooperated. The football successfully penetrated the box, and Lozano immediately raised his foot to hit the goal after taking the ball. Boom. However, his strength was slightly greater, and in the end the football was still one above the crossbar. There was a burst of noise at the scene. The Mexico team seemed to have changed their entire style of play in the second half. Regardless of whether the change is good or bad, for the fans, there seems to be hope for a goal. At this time, in the Huasha studio, Su Dong hit the goal. The attack was so fierce at the beginning of the second half. Su Dong, ouch, it's a pity. The shot from the Mexico team. Lozano missed the hit, went over the crossbar. Su Dong, but you can see that the formation and playing style of the Mexico team have changed. Su Dong, the second half may be more intense than expected. Fans yes, the physical strength of the Mexico team must no longer be able to maintain high-pressure pressing. Fans so they reduced the number of midfield frontmen and strengthened the firepower on the offensive end. Fans in the 15 minutes of rest just now, the Mexico team must have made a new tactical deployment. Su Dong, director fan, where do you think the pros and cons of Moxage tactics are reflected? Fans in fact, this tactic depends on whether the Mexico team can score in the first 15 minutes of the second half. Su Dong, oh? Why do you say that? Fans because 15 minutes is a tipping point. Fans judging from the current style of play of the Mexico team, their purpose is of course to score as soon as possible. Fans and if you don't score in 15 minutes, the hearts of the Mexico players will change. Fans don't underestimate these 15 minutes, this is supported by many scientific data. Fans if the 15-minute attack does not progress, then the players will start to doubt themselves and start to doubt the rationality of the tactics. Fans at that time, the formation of the Mexico team will be chaotic and self-chaotic. Su Dong, then if in these 15 minutes, the Mexico team not only did not score, but also conceded. Fans then I'm afraid there will be no suspense in this game. Fans 15 minutes is a watershed. Fans if the Mexico team takes the lead, they will immediately switch to a defensive formation and hold the advantage of this goal. Fans if you don't score a goal, or even lose a goal, Su Dong, then it will be the Argentine team to perform a counterattack. Fans yes, Su Dong, okay, thank you Coach Fan for providing us with tactical analysis. Su Dong, let's continue to pay attention to the game. On the playing field, the football ball was returned to the Argentine. The goalkeeper of the Argentine team slowly sent the ball out and handed it to Romero's feet. Romero pressed forward with the ball and then passed it again to get the ball in front of DePaul. DePaul had the ball at his feet and did not rush to advance and counterattack. The players in the Argentine team are very experienced. Naturally, he saw the plans of the Mexico team. You guys want to attack? Well, I'll drag out time and slow down your attack. If you have the ability, continue to come up and press with high pressure, as long as you still have physical strength. Sure enough, DePaul's delaying tactics worked very well, and it was a pain point for the Mexico team. At this time, their front was relatively pressed up, but they did not come forward madly to press it. After all, the crazy pressing is not physically exerting, and now they can't afford to consume it, so their tactic is, despite letting the Argentine team attack. When the Argentine team advances, the players in the midfield will immediately retreat to form a stronger backline, and when the time comes, as long as they get the ball back, they will also do their best to play every attack. However, seeing that DePaul has been controlling the ball, there is no intention to advance at all. This can't help but make the players of the Mexico team a little uncomfortable. They have been waiting for the Argentines to attack, but have you been standing crossed for a long time and you haven't seen the shadow of football? Can't sit still. The Mexico players immediately chased after them. It was impossible to let the Argentines hold the ball all the time. De Paul looked calm, and in the face of the pressing of the Mexico players, he continued to knock the ball back into the back without hurry. This is to lure the front of the Mexico team to continue to press. Sure enough, 2 players from the Mexico midfield left the line, and for the Argentine team, there is a gap. Boom! De Paul, who regained the ball, found an opportunity, took the opportunity to pass the ball, and sent the football in the direction of Messi. Messi was originally still walking, and this time it was also launched instantly. Oops, stop him, put the ball down, let's play fast. The Mexico players reacted immediately and rushed to Messi's position. You have to cut off the ball before Messi gets it. Swish! The Mexico players very decisively released the flying tackle, but Messi is not a vegetarian, naturally speeds up and wants to take the ball first. Messi was shoveled to the ground. Beep! Jiang Ning whistled and ran in stride. Immediately afterwards, he decisively took out the yellow card. Episode 134. Huaxia, this referee really can't be provoked. On the playing field, Messi was shoveled to the ground by the Mexico players. This is a foul action, because Messi controlled the football first. The tackle hit Messi's ankle directly. Although Messi has dodged as much as possible, he is still inevitably injured. At this time, the physical disadvantage of the Mexico team is already manifested. Like in the first half, they also did this many times, but they were not to the point of eating cards. But in the case of a serious decline in physical strength, the movement can no longer be so standard, and the speed is a little unable to keep up. This also led to Messi's injury. Eating cards is not controversial. Beep! Jiang Ning showed a yellow card warning. So far in the game, the Mexico team has eaten 4 yellow cards. You know, this second half of the game has just begun. Fans can already predict that this game may be indispensable for players to be sent off. The game continues. Jiang Ning awarded the Argentine team a free kick. However, the position of this free kick is far from the opponent's goal, and it is definitely unrealistic to hit the goal directly. Therefore, the Argentine team should find a way to make a front-court cooperation on this free kick. Jiang Ning whistled and urged a free kick. Di Maria stood in front of the ball with a solemn expression. Messi was stared at too hard. His cooperation with Messi will definitely be destroyed. So, this ball has to change, and something has to be done. Boom! Di Maria takes a free kick. The football crossed the sky, climbed over the human wall, and found the position of the Lauda Roman worker on the left side of the penalty area. He did not continue to look for Messi. This kick was indeed beyond the expectations of the Mexico players. Good. Got it. Lautaro Martin, immediately after taking the ball, is ready to raise his foot and shoot, but at this time a figure appeared in front of Lautaro Martin. It's the defensive player of the Mexico team. He was responsible for keeping an eye on Lautaro Martin, and he was not distracted at this time. Lautaro frowned, and the foot that was originally going to shoot was also put down. Because the route of the goal happened to be blocked by the opponent. In desperation, Lautaro continued to take the ball and broke through a few steps. I have to say that Lautaro's performance today was somewhat unsatisfactory. It seems that he has some lack of confidence in himself and is slightly hesitant when attacking. Know that in football, even a second of hesitation can lead to missed opportunities. Really, just after he took a few steps forward, Ochoa, the goalkeeper of the Mexico team, had already taken the initiative to snatch the football on the ground and hold it into his arms. Ochoa is extremely decisive and courageous. This is not the first time he has blocked Lautaro Martin's attack. A flash of unwillingness flashed in Lautaro Martin's eyes. Watching such a good opportunity being wasted by himself made him almost crazy. So, at the moment when Ochoa rushed to him to pounce, Lautaro Martin also fell to the ground. This is the instinctive reaction of Lautaro Martin. Or rather, this is his subconscious behavior. As a striker, penalty making is a must. This naturally includes how to pretend to fall. In a hurry, Lautaro Martin subconsciously fell to the ground. At this time, Ochoa held the ball and stretched out his hand in Jiang Ning's direction with a frightened face. Ochoa was saying that he didn't touch Lautaro, he was the beep who fell on his own. Jiang Ning whistled, and his eyes ran towards here indifferently, but at this time, the oil Maria on the side ran over. Di Maria looked anxious and shouted at Lautaro, hurry up. This trick is useless for this referee. You forgot how I ate the cards just now. This Huaxia referee is very powerful. Don't roll over. Hiss. Hearing Di Maria's reminder, Lauda Roman instantly sobered up. Oh, yes, he forgot. The referee of this match is Jiang Ning of Huaxia. Lord, before the start of the game, the head coach of the Argentine team made a point of explaining this. They collectively watched the Jiang Ning Zhuang law enforcement match in order to study Jiang Ning's penalty bottom line, but after reading it, they came to a conclusion. Don't mess with this referee. Don't do anything small. If you change to another judge, it is absolutely no problem to have better acting skills. But meeting this Huaxia referee. But all those who make small movements are invariably accurately captured by him, to step on the horse with a pair of eyes that are more accurate than the machine. No matter what you want to do, you feel that there are invisible eyes staring. In an instant, Lautaro Martin reacted, was full of cleverness, and immediately rolled over and stood up. At this time, Jiang Ning had also run to the near front, his eyes fixed on Lautaro Martin indifferently, and he reached for his pocket. No, 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 referee, I fell by myself. Don't you think I've already stood up? I don't mean anything else, it's just that my foot slipped accidentally. Don't be impulsive. Lautaro Martin was anxious, and took Jiang Ning's hand while speaking. He didn't actually have malicious intentions, but in a hurry, he forgot how serious a provocation it was to pull the referee to prevent him from pulling out his cards. Jiang Ning frowned, threw off Lautaro Martin, and resolutely took out the yellow card as a warning. Originally, Jiang Ning planned to let him go. After all, he immediately stood up, even if he had the intention of fake falling. But at least he corrected it in time. He also didn't have much impact on the pace of the game, but this gesture of reaching out touched Jiang Ning's bottom line. Prevent the referee from pulling out his cards and hinder the referee from awarding a penalty? The referee is authoritative on the field, and any act of blocking is a provocation to the referee. This is not a card, but also a card. Wow, there was an exclamation from the scene. Many fans didn't see exactly what was going on because of the vision problem. They just knew that Lautaro Martin fell, but instead, they got a yellow card. But now the fans are calm, compared with the previous goal was blown off. The yellow card is just a small dish. In this referee's arena, you won't be surprised until you get a red card, right? At this time, Lautaro Martin was about to cry. This referee is too ruthless. I fell fake, but didn't I succeed? And I stood up right away. This also gives a card. Blood deficit. I'll tell you, this referee is different from the others. You said you. What do you think? Actually go and stop the referee from pulling out the cards. So what do you think about the act of death? It's good that it's just a yellow card. If it's a red card, it's too late to cry. At this time, Di Maria ran over and patted Lautaro Martin's back, and Lautaro Martin smiled helplessly. At that time, I didn't think so much, and I was a little impulsive. This is also the first time such a referee has been seen, and the other referees have no problem playing their cards. Huaxia, this referee really can't be provoked. The two looked at each other, both with a wry smile. I wanted to cheat a foul, but I didn't expect to put myself in it. Beep, Jiang Ning whistles, the game continues. For Jiang Ning, he will not care what kind of psychological pressure his decision has brought to the players. He will only do his part, that is to ensure the smooth running of the game and the fairness. At this time, the ball once again came to the feet of the Mexico team. Ochoa knows very well that the team needs to hurry up and attack it this time. Therefore, Ochoa directly opened with a big foot, and the Mexico players pressed up as a whole again. Boom! After a short stay in midfield, the football was once again sent to the feet of Jimenez. After Jimenez ran a few steps with the ball, he should still move the ball laterally to find Lozano. But at this moment, a figure suddenly came out and snatched the football. It's DePaul from the Argentines. He keenly discovered Jimenez's routine. This is not the first time Jimenez has transferred the ball to Lozano, so DePaul has an extra eye, and has been watching Jimenez's movements, just waiting for him to pass the ball and shift. Sure enough, as he expected, he successfully predicted the passing route and stole the ball. Damn it, back to defense. Hurry up, don't let Messi take the ball. Stop him even if it's a foul. Suddenly, the players of the Mexico team were in a panic, because their front is too pressed up. At this time, it is equivalent to being directly pierced through the avant-garde line. And in the midfield, there are Messi, Di Maria, and Lautaro Martin, three terrible striker firepower. Boom! The football hit, Messi started instantly. At this moment, the speed of the ball king exploded, and Uncle who opened his hands, and stuck the defender behind him. Immediately afterwards, Messi did not stop the ball, directly volleyed, and the football was sent to the feet of Di Maria. And at the front, there is Lautaro Martin ready to pick up. This is the dream connection of the Argentine team. Episode 135. Two yellows turn into one red, and the ruby card appears. Football gallops. Messi swung his legs, and showed excellent running speed. He didn't run when he was walking, but when he ran, the explosiveness of this moment was too strong. Under the interference of the two defensive players of the Mexico team, Messi still passed the football. His skillful ball skills make him look comfortable in the crowd. At this time, there were only 3 defenders in the back line of the Mexico team, but the Argentines team had Di Maria and Lautaro Martin in the front. Even, Messi rushed up from the rear. The linkage of several people shows the style of a strong team. This is also the dream connection of the Argentine team. No one can stop it. Invincible. Boom! Di Maria successfully received a pass from Messi. He waited in place for a second before sending the ball out to Lautaro Martin in the box. This second is the essence. If he does not wait for this second, but chooses to pass the ball, then the Mexico defenders will immediately turn around and keep an eye on Lautaro Martin. And if you wait a second longer, the pursuers in the rear will catch up. So this second is a comprehensive embodiment of the perception and judgment of a football player. For a second, the Mexico defenders had to rush up to defend him, but the moment they made a move, Di Maria passed the ball again. This is when the Mexico players are accelerating towards here, and now they have to turn around and go to Lautaro. Once you come and go, that's a few seconds. On the green field, a gap of a few seconds is enough to kill for this situation. Shout. Football gallops. Di Maria passed the football and Lautaro Marco took it easily. At this time, Ochoa, the door god of the Mexico team, also decisively chose to take the initiative. This is the third time, the collision between Ochoa and Lautaro Martin, but this time a mocking smile flashed on Lautaro Martin's face. He lifted his foot and made a shooting motion, but in fact, he gently pushed the football to the left. Oops, deceived. Ochoa's face changed drastically, but at this time, he has already made an interception action, and it is impossible to turn back to block the ball. Even if he is 10 times faster, it is too late. Shout. Football pushes sideways. Messi cut in. Messi, the king of the ball, appeared in the position where he was most needed at the most critical moment, the top consciousness and running position in football. Let him know when to be in what position. Boom. A kick shot out. Facing the empty goal, Messi lightly toes, the football bounces up, slowly but without hesitation, rushes into the goal of the Mexico team. The ball went in. Jiang Ning's arm front finger. The goal is effective. The score is rewritten. 1-0. Rumble. The audience exploded. We can always trust Messi. Everyone has to panic when he runs. Too handsome. This is the Messi of the strong team, the powerful blue and white legion cooperation. This goal scored beautifully, hold the score, stabilize the situation, and win this match. Finally scored. This goal is too important for the momentum. The balance of victory should be tilted to the blue and white legion. In support of the blue and white legion, the audience in blue and white clothes stood up one after another. Everyone shouted in unison. The sound broke out instantly, deafening, broke through the sky, and the Argentine team finally scored. It's a hard-won shot. The fans have been waiting for so long, and finally waiting for this moment. The Argentine team is one step closer to the round of 16, and victory is just around the corner. The teammates of the Argentine team came running and hugging Messi. At the critical moment, it is still Messi, or this smooth star worth relying on. With this goal, the players of the Argentine team also secretly breathed a sigh of relief. A big stone that has been pressing on their hearts is finally slightly loosened, and they will be extremely relaxed. With an advantage in mentality, the Pampas eagle will completely spread its wings. At this time, in the Huaxia studio, Sudong, pretty. The ball went in. Sudong, it's Messi. I knew it would be Messi. Sudong, the one who stood up to save the team at the critical moment, is still this heavenly pride of the Pampas grassland. Sudong, it was Messi who drew the dream connection of the Argentine team. Sudong, with his key pass in the midfield area, there is the cooperation of Di Maria and Lautaro Martin behind. Sudong, in the end, it was still Messi who pushed the football easily into the net. Fanzi, yes, the more stressful the time, the more you should trust Messi. Fanzi, that's the difference between stars and ordinary players. They often show amazing power in key moments. Sudong, that's right. Fire Eagle, Nirvana returns. Leo Messi, desperate situation. Sudong, turn the tide and fall, help the building to fall, and show the true colors of heroes in the first battle. Sudong, even though you have thousands of troops to build copper walls and iron walls, we have Leo Messi who is like a broken bamboo and blows the city. Sudong, witness devout believers at dusk, and witness the arrival of the ball king in the night. Sudong, Messi led the Argentine team to a crucial step towards a place in the round of 16. Fanzi, yes, what teacher Sudong said is so good. Fanzi, next, it depends on whether the Mexico team can withstand this huge pressure. Sudong, Coach Fan, what do you think the Mexico team should do next? Fanzi, I think they should first calm down and don't be impatient. Fanzi, I said before that once their mentality collapses, there is probably no room for maneuver in this game. Fanzi, actually, there is still time for the game, and the second half has only been less than 10 minutes. Sudong, yes, let's wait and see if the Mexico team can fight back next. At this time, in the Huaxia live broadcast room, the barrage is being sent intensively. Because of Messi's goal, the number of barrage sent has once again reached a peak. Boss May Cowhide, Uncle who slagged Cowhide. The strongest ball king, worthy of you. The Argentine team is a bit of a strong team. Messi should have scored a long time ago. The Mexico team can't hold on, they have no strength. Brother Ning's sentence just now is so fun. Lautaro Martin was caught in a fake fall and also ate a yellow card. That's his own death. Brother Ning is most unaccustomed to this kind of small action. When the top strong team in the World Cup meets the referee from Huaxia, this chemical reaction is a trickle. Congratulations in advance to the Argentine team for entering the round of 16. The metaphysics of the Mexico team is about to be broken. Beep. In the arena, Jiang Ning sounded the whistle to signal the game to continue. After some celebration, the Argentine players quickly ran back to their positions. Compared to their joy, the Mexico team is bleak here. You can see from the facial expressions of the players that this goal hit them too hard, especially coupled with the serious consumption of physical strength. the mentality of the players of the Mexico team is already a little strained. Boom. The football was fired. Mexico midfielder with the ball. Their advance is still very fast, but it is so fast that it is a little irrational. Even in the face of the defense and pressure of the Argentine team, they chose to forcibly break through. Irrational behavior can easily cause their mistakes. Boom. Sure enough, a Mexico player conceded a ball in midfield when he burst in with the ball and was forced down by DePaul. DePaul quickly split the ball and tried to play another wave of fast attacks. Soon, football was at the feet of Di Maria. Boom. Immediately afterwards, a muffled sound came, and Di Maria was knocked to the ground. It turned out that the players of the Mexico team were even more anxious after seeing the ball lost, so when fighting with Di Maria, there was an obvious pushing action. And this push action is not only for the fight for the ball, but even for the taste of Oil Maria. From this action, it is enough to see that the mentality of the players of the Mexico team has undergone a serious change. They really can't hold on. Beep. At this time, Jiang Ning decisively sounded the whistle and strode over. Jiang Ning's expression was serious, and after taking out the yellow card from his arms to show it, he changed it to a red card to show it. 2 yellows turn into 1 red. The Mexico team was sent off by 1 man. For the Mexico team, Jiang Ning's penalty is tantamount to making things worse. Episode 136. After consecutive cards, the players on the court gradually calmed down. On the playing field, the fans of the Mexico team were silent. Some people bite their lips and don't know what to do, and some people have red eyes and whimper softly. For the Mexico team, being sent off after conceding a goal is like pronounced their death sentence. The Mexico players shook their heads helplessly. This game has become more and more difficult for them. But anyway, they stopped one of the opponent's attacks. Even at a huge price, the Mexico team is only 1 goal behind. There is still hope for everything. It's still early to the end of the race. However, the player sent off by Mexico is a midfielder. This undoubtedly makes the Mexico team a lot more pressured to get the ball. In the next game, it may be necessary to make substitutions. Otherwise it will be difficult for the Mexico team to organize an effective attack. Beep. Jiang Ning sounded the whistle, signaling that the game continued. At this time, it was the free kick of the Argentine team, and it was handed over to Di Maria to take the penalty very quickly. Di Maria sent the free kick out to find the cooperation of his teammates. Boom. The players on both sides immediately grabbed the spot, but because the Argentine team really did not have an advantage in height, the free kick did not make a difference. The football was snatched by the Mexico players, and eventually 24 was handed over to Ochoa to forfeit Ochoa to send the ball out, and the Mexico team got another chance to attack. It's just that after the Mexico team was sent off, there was indeed a problem with their organizational attack. The Mexico players made another mistake while dribbling the ball in midfield. The football could not be held, and it was once again tackled by the Argentine players. This is where the after effects of a midfielder being sent off come in. At this time, the director of the arena was also very keen to give the camera to the bench area of the Mexico team. The picture immediately appeared, and the Mexico player who was sent off just now was full of regret and unwillingness written on his face. If he hadn't been too impulsive just now, I'm afraid the scene in the Mexico team wouldn't be so difficult now. The player lowered his head and covered his face with his hands, full of bitterness and regret. The game continues. The Argentines players are slowly organizing their attack. After they have taken a 1-goal lead, their mentality has leveled off. No more desperate to break through and advance. But they are not in a hurry. The Mexico team players are in a hurry. So, the Mexico players once again launched a pressing action. But the current pressing action is very dangerous. Jiang Ning, as the referee of this game, was keenly aware of the change in the mentality of the players of the Mexico team. Therefore, Jiang Ning's brows also frowned slightly, and the movements under his feet were faster, vigilant against unnecessary conflicts between the two sides. Beep. Not long after the Argentine team held the ball, the Mexico players once again failed the scramble. After Jiang Ning showed a yellow card again, the Mexico players gradually calmed down. At this time, they are still carrying 4 yellow cards. It's already very dangerous. If there is another movement, they will send off another player. Come on. Come on. Come on, hold steady. 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 At this time, the fans of the Mexico team also realized the seriousness of the problem. They reintegrated, cheered for the Mexico team again, and also emphasized steady. Jimenez was at the forefront of the team and began to cooperate with the head coach to give some tactical command to his teammates. Boom. The football is at the feet of the Argentine. Since taking a 1-goal lead, the momentum of the Pampas Eagles has completely changed. Their attacks have also become smoother, and the ground penetration has become more and more handy. The Argentine team is also a growing threat to the Mexico goal. Time passes little by little. In the following time, the Mexico team did not rush to attack, and chose to do a good job of defense first. While it's not the best option, they don't have a better way. After all, there is already 1 less person, and there are still 4 yellow cards on his back. If the front presses up again, with the current offensive of the Argentine team, they will only concede more goals. At this point, the time has come to the 30th minute of the second half. There are only 15 minutes left in the regular time of the game. After slowing down their attack, the Argentine team were unable to score again against the Mexico team's iron-blooded defense. But it can be clearly felt that the Argentine team is already very handy in the transmission and advancement of football. A team has such a state that it is usually not too far away from scoring. Boom! The Argentines team had another good chance, with Di Maria's volley, but this time the ball was slightly deflected and the ball flew out of the line. At this time, the situation on the scene has been completely reversed. At the beginning of the second half, the crazy offensive of the Mexico team was gone. Now it's the Argentine team that is besieging the Mexico team. Beep. At this time, Jiang Ning sounded the whistle, signaling that the Mexico team was going to make a substitution adjustment. The eyes of the Mexico fans are bright, because the change of people at the last moment often represents the last effort. Suddenly, the fans of the Mexico team at the scene shouted and cheered. And this time, the substitution of the head coach of the Mexico team does have a desperate plan, because he replaced a player in the back line and added a front back, which is equivalent to weakening the strength of the defensive line. In exchange for the offensive team, the front back can play a better guiding role in the attack, while also strengthening the midfielder's possession of the ball. With one less man, it is indeed a big risk for the head coach of the Mexico team to make such a substitution adjustment. But there is no way around it. If they lose today, they will bid farewell to this World Cup. To put it in layman's terms, if you want to lose anyway, there is no difference between losing 1 ball and losing 5 balls for him. Might as well fight. Beep. Jiang Ning whistles. The game continues. The Mexico team launched one of their most ferocious attacks of the game. Boom. With the football sent out by Ochoa, the new front player of the Mexico team took the ball steadily. Shout. Instead of choosing to pass the ball, he broke through directly with the ball. At this time, the physical strength of the entire Mexico team had dropped too much. Passing the ball to them is not the best option. Only his own physical strength is the most abundant. Breakthrough offense is the best solution. Shout. And obviously, the sudden advance of this player also made the Argentine team players a little unexpected. Suddenly, the Argentine team players stepped forward to block. But at this time, football suddenly flew up. Sudden knock. What? The Argentine players were shocked. This kick was too sudden. And the quality is high. The football cut through the sky, skimmed over the heads of several Argentine players, and went straight above the goal. But then, when the football seemed to deviate from the door frame, it suddenly fell strangely, coming to goal. Hiss, the Argentine players gasped. The fans at the scene also stood up sharply. So sudden, the Argentine team was caught off guard. Boom. However, at the critical moment, just when the football was about to cross the goal line, a pair of hands jerked out. The goalkeeper of the Argentine team, Damian Martinez. He made a save in time. The football was forcibly saved by him. Hey! What are you doing? Give me all seriousness. Think you win steadily? Give me a good defense. Be wary of sudden long-range shots. The goalkeeper of the Argentine team roared at his teammates. This one ball was a complete mistake on their defense. And this mistake is because it is too relaxed. It's too undeserved. And it's too bad to start letting your guard down before the game is over. P.S. Dear readers, the younger brother is still pulled into the ocean by his neighbors even if he does not go out. Today's temperature is above 39 degrees, uncomfortable. Everyone understands this taste. Thank you for your continued support and subscription. Really thank you. Little brother, these 2 days to stabilize 3 more a day. When the disease is better, it will definitely explode and repay everyone. Little brother wishes all handsome guys and beauties good health and happiness. Episode 137. He is the light in the darkness, shattering the darkness with thunder. The audience erupted into an uproar. This ball is a big threat. If it weren't for the final save by the Argentine goalkeeper, this would have been a must-have. This is also the most threatening shot by the Mexico team since the beginning of the game, and the players of the Argentine team are also shocked into a cold sweat. At this moment, they realized how outrageous the relaxation just now was. The game is not over yet, not to mention leading by 1 goal. Even if you are 2 goals ahead, you can't say that you will win steadily. They are too confident. This ball is like pouring cold water on them and waking them up. The goalkeeper's angry scolding still echoed in their ears, and this time, the opponent's attack took only 10 seconds. Be serious, score another goal as soon as possible. Guard against this corner first. Don't relax. The Mexico team is difficult to fight. Their fighting spirit is very tenacious. They are formidable opponents. At this time, Messi and Di Maria are also explaining to their teammates and sending reminders. It can be seen that whether it is the dominant side or the inferior side, it is very hard for this game. Of course, it is Messi, who may not participate after this World Cup. Then he really wants to get the honor he wants to get in this World Cup. Jiang Ning whistled and signaled that the corner kick would be issued as soon as possible. The Mexico team gave this corner to Lozano. At this time, Lozano's eyes flashed brightly. After changing to the forward player, he can look for another attacking point, and this corner kick is their hope. Boom! The corner kick was sent out. Lozano's goal was clear, and this kick was also served very accurately. The football flew sideways, accurately captured by Jimenez, and made a kick. It's just that at this time, the Argentine team players are very vigilant and jam the defense to death. So in the end, this kick still failed to hit. The football smashed into the leg of the defender, popped out of the box, and was snatched back by the Argentines player. The Mexico team's attack was extremely threatening, and it almost broke through the Argentines' defense. It was also the closest Mexico had ever come to scoring a goal in this game. Boom! The ball of football is now at the feet of the Argentine. Attack and defense had changed again. The Mexico players immediately got up and returned to defense, still focusing on Messi's position. And at this time, the counterattack of the Argentine team finally came. Shout! The football was passed and De Paul sent the ball in the direction where Messi was. Messi suddenly turned around and raised a bunch of instep feet. Instead of choosing to dribble, he made another crucial pass. Boom! The football was pushed by him like this, and it should fall diagonally forward. At this time, De Paul, who had just completed the pass, stepped forward again and received the ball again. De Paul and Messi completed a wall hit in midfield. When the attention of the defensive players is on Messi, Messi has no intention of taking the ball at all. Unexpectedly. Unprepared. Boom! After De Paul got the ball, his speed increased and he went straight to the Mexico penalty area. And in the face of the Mexico team's two-person bag defense, he knocked the ball back to Messi behind him again. Sure enough, it's still Messi, still looking for this ball king. The players of the Mexico team showed such an expression. Prepared, they immediately took a step across, blocked Messi's route forward, and it was another two-person bag. Even Messi, it's not easy to get over. If you delay by 1 second or two, the back line of the Mexico team can fully organize the card position, and this wave of attack can be defended. But this time, Messi made an unexpected move again. Pass, lateral shift, left of the restricted area. There is a gap. The teammate came to pick it up, it was Di Maria. Messi's eyes lit up, and the football pushed out horizontally and rolled in front of Di Maria, who was running wildly. This pass is extremely comfortable for Di Maria. Whether it is speed, altitude, angle, distance, it is the most comfortable position in Di Maria. Rumble. Di Maria volleys. There is no chance for the football to stop. Bang the door directly in midair. Boom! The football hits the goal like a cannonball. Ochoa, the door god of the Mexico team, changed his face greatly, and almost subconsciously made a save. But the speed of this ball is too fast. Even if he judged the right direction and pounced on the football as fast as he could, he was still one step late. The ball passed between his 10 fingers, hit the net, and slammed the net high. The ball went in. Jiang Ning's arm pointed forward, indicating that the ball was effective. The score has been rewritten again. 2-0. The Argentine team finally scored their second goal. One sword seals the throat. Kill the suspense of the game. Rumble. So handsome, this goal scored beautifully. It has to be Messi, his fighting power on the field is too strong. Come on Messi, the Hercules trophy must be yours. Hold the advantage, this game is no longer in suspense. Oh class, oh class, oh class. The audience let out a deafening cheer, as if they were going to turn the sky over. The sluggish atmosphere before the Argentine team, the soft state that was criticized, all disappeared under this ball. Messi was full of controversy, and the whole team was maliciously abused and attacked. At this moment, the Argentine team smashed all doubts. They are still the top team. They are still one of the favorites to win this World Cup. The game has reached the 86th minute of regular time. The Argentine, who is leading by 2 goals, can be said to be a sure winner and got a ticket to the round of 16. Di Maria found Messi as soon as he scored the goal. He hugged Messi heavily. Today's Messi is the hero of the Mexico team. 2 goals, both closely related to him, 1 pass and 1 shot, get a ball and an assist. And both balls can be said to be opportunities suddenly created by Messi between walking corners. He was indeed stared at by the Mexico team, and even caused him to be forced to walk for most of the game. However, as soon as he has the opportunity, he will strike with thunder and smash everything. This is why the King Messi can stand out in football. Targeting is not terrible, staring at is not terrible. The King always redeems himself in adversity. The players of the Argentine team are celebrating wildly. Even their head coach Scaloni roared with excitement. The Argentine team has taken another step forward. If Argentina can win this World Cup, he will become the second youngest champion coach in the history of world football at the age of 44. Moreover, the youngest coach to ever be champion is also the head coach of the Argentine team, only 42 years old. This glory will all be occupied by the Argentine team. On the other hand, look at the Mexico team here. There was silence and dead silence. Mexico fans also looked desperate, but they did not go to blame and insult, because the fans know that the players did their best. Each of them was running with all their strength, using every last ounce of strength. Beep. Jiang Ning sounded his whistle, signaling the game to continue. Players from both sides rushed back and got back into the game, but the rest of the time, the Mexico team has completely lost its fighting spirit, and the Argentine team no longer has the desire to attack. Therefore, the strength of the struggle between the two sides has also weakened a lot. Subsequently, Jiang Ning signaled to the assistant referee, and in the second half of injury time was 4 minutes, and in the last 4 minutes, the Mexico players also organized. There were several attacks, but all to no avail. Especially after a previous lesson, they were also particularly wary of the Mexico team's sudden shot from a long distance. Therefore, the Argentine team's defense line also pressed relatively forward, and in the last few minutes, they held this hard-won victory. Beep. 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 In the end, after the football agenting players kicked out of the touchline, the 4 minutes of injury time were all over. Jiang Ning blew the whistle for the end of the game. This Pampas Eagle vs Mexico Iron Rider match has finally come to an end. The Argentine team is one step closer to their dream. The Mexico team, on the other hand, whimpered softly, endured the grief, packed their bags, and prepared to embark on their journey home. The arena is brutal, and every time someone advances, it means someone is going to leave the arena. There is only one champion, but on the way to the championship, every team is worthy of respect. Kill. P.S. It is slightly better to take the medicine, but the fever has not subsided and it is still repeated, and the body is still tormented. Thank you again for subscribing. The little brother will definitely get better immediately. I wish all readers are mostly chosen children. Episode 138. He's still one of the best judges I've ever met, and I love him. The game is over. Jiang Ning's whistle represents the end of this battle for a place in the round of 16. For the Argentines, the whistle is pleasant, like a clarion call to victory. And for the Mexico team, it is also a relief. They did their best, and no matter what the outcome, they had to learn to accept it. The game is like that, it can't be sung forever. Some hold their heads high, others bow their heads and fall silent. Jiang Ning stood silently in place, looking at the completely different states of the two teams, and also felt some emotion in his heart. The two teams performed remarkably today, and although the number of goals was small, it was a good game. And there were too many surprises in this game. There are accidents of cardiac arrest in the elderly, and there is also the helplessness of canceling goals after the football is kicked out. The intensity of the game is far from being summed up by 2 goals. Then, Jiang Ning put away his thoughts and strode to the sidelines. He also needs to do some post-match documentation and register and annotate the yellow and red cards given. At this time, the agenting players also slowly left the field. As the spiritual leader of the team, Messi was naturally surrounded by the media and reporters for interviews. Reporter: Mr. Messi, congratulations on your successful entry into the round of 16. Reporter: for this game, do you have anything you want to share with the fans and friends? Well, of course. First of all, I have to say that Mexico is a very strong team. They are tenacious, and the 727 are tough. The Mexico players had a serious physical decline in the second half, otherwise we wouldn't have won so easily. Messi first praised the Mexico team to the camera. Whether it is the performance of the opponent today or the Mexico team's approach when there is an accident, it has won the respect of Messi. Despite winning the match, he was not proud and took every match seriously. And immediately after, Messi continued, I also want to say that today's referee is very fair, although he blew off one of my goals and gave us back 2 yellows. But he's still one of the best referees I've ever seen and I love him. Saying that, Messi did not forget to point in the direction of Jiang Ning and signaled the media to turn the camera. The reporter laughed. Okay, thank you Messi. I have one more question though. Reporter: before Sigong finished the Fruit Tooth team game, he said that he hoped to have the opportunity to play you in the next game. Reporter: is there anything you would like to respond to? Messi chuckled and touched his beard. Yes, I'm looking forward to meeting him too, he said. Being able to fight with Sigong, Namor, and Mbappe should also be able to rub different sparks. Because I am teammates from the same club as Namor and Bape, we know each other very well. So, the next game will be exciting. After speaking, Messi waved to the camera and left the arena with his teammates. And this time, the interview was also quickly spread by major media. Messi, Namor, Sigong, Bape, they are all the most favored and influential stars in football today. Now, except from Baby's team, the other 3 teams have completed 3 rounds of the group stage and qualified successfully. And Mbappe's national team is about to usher in the last group game. They haven't fought yet, but there's already a wave on the internet. A collision between legends and legends, when the old and the new alternate, the back wave and the front wave fight. In this era, the clash of top teams will be one of the undoubted climax of the World Cup. So, even if the group stage is not over yet, the fans are already impatient. Who is stronger or weaker, whose brilliance can shine over Carl Stadium? The next games will give the answer. And at this time, just after both players slowly left the field, keen media reporters discovered that there was also a special group of Huaxia fans in the stadium. They were wearing yellow shirts and waving the Chinese flag, and they were slowly leaving the audience. So, a reporter immediately followed and came to the fan exit in advance to wait. Huaxia has always been controversial, especially in the context of the World Cup. Because the Chinese elements of this World Cup are too sufficient. Looking at the entire stadium, what has nothing to do with Huaxia? Even the billboards on the sidelines kept flashing the name of Huaxia's sponsor. In addition, Prince Carl deliberately mentioned the matter of the Huaxia men's football team in the interview before. Prince Carl said that he hopes that the Chinese men's football team can come to participate in the World Cup. Of course, this is because with the Huaxia men's football team, Carl Guo will definitely not be the bottom one among the 32 teams. Although it is just an angry sentence, it is enough to prove the problem of the Huaxia men's football team. It is too difficult for the Chinese men's football team to participate in the World Cup. The strength of the Huaxia country and the weakness of the Huaxia men's football team form a sharp contrast. This also makes the Huaxia national football team has been ridiculed by the majority of fans. And more importantly, in this World Cup, Huaxia has appeared an international top referee. All this comes together, which means that Huaxia has become a big hot spot in this World Cup. If you can interview such a group of Chinese fans, you still have to worry about no ratings? It must be hot. So, reporters and media all stood in the passage of the fan exit with great anticipation, waiting for this group of minions to appear, and it didn't take long for a yellow color to meet their eyes. Brother Huasha Chanchan carried the Huasha banner and walked out of the passage shaking his head. Behind him was a group of Huasha fans wearing yellow tops. The surrounding Argentine fans and Mexico fans stayed away and deliberately kept their distance from them. This group of people is not easy to mess with at first sight. At this time, the reporter should immediately greet the stop. Reporter, hello, are you a fan of Huasha? Reporter, can I ask you a few questions? Brother Qian and the others were stunned. I didn't expect to meet an interview. This must not be a good publicity for Brother Ning. So, Brother Qian immediately put on a professional smile and reached out to take the microphone. Yes, we come from the beautiful and vast Huasha. In this World Cup, our Huasha referee Jiang Ning, with rigorous and accurate judgments, is the pride of our Huasha fans. We came to the Carl World Cup from far away to support our Huasha's referees. We firmly believe that he is the best and most professional referee in the world. Brother Ning, come on. Brother Ning, we support you. Brother Qian refund is very familiar, and he didn't even give the reporter a chance to speak, and he just held the microphone directly and talked endlessly. This will not even give journalists a whole thing. What situation is this? Shouldn't it be me asking questions? I haven't asked yet. Why is it still publicized? Oh my god, sir, can you please give me back the microphone first? In desperation, the reporter hurriedly reminded the money-returning brother. Ooh, sorry, you ask. Brother Qian reluctantly handed the microphone back. Reporter, excuse me, your Huasha men's football team did not participate in the World Cup, so you came to Carl country too. Before the reporter could finish speaking, Brother Qian came up again. Brother Qian said, oh, didn't I say it just now? I came to Carl country to support our Huasha referee. Brother Ning shot, the small card will be there. The red card shakes. The reporter almost cried, can you not grab words like this? She wants to lead the topic to the Huasha men's football team. Therefore, before the slogan of the money return brother was finished, the reporter quickly interrupted the slogan of the money return brother. Reporter, sir, what do you think of the Huasha men's football team? Can you tell us your opinion? As soon as Brother Qian heard it, he immediately came to the spirit. He grabbed the microphone and continued, Huasha men's football. They have switched to selling sea cucumbers. The reporter was stunned. Sea cucumber? Brother Qian, yes, I heard that you can make money. So let's not mention this group of people who don't play well. Let's talk about our Huasha referee. Brother Ning shot, the small card will be there. The reporter cried. This interview did not create any highlights, but made Huasha's referee more well known. She has a long memory, and she must hold the microphone firmly when interviewing in the future. Episode 139. Jiang Ning is indeed very professional, and he is not at all intimidating. After Jiang Ning finished recording the game, he slowly walked off the arena. Jiang Ning, here. Orya waved at Jiang Ning on the sidelines with a soft smile. Jiang Ning nodded and immediately came to the side of Orya who was looking at. Today's performance was great. The few penalties were fantastic, and the superstar is still upholding the principle of fairness and justice. Just now, the FIFA senior management specially called me. Orya's little face was a little red, and he looked a little excited. Obviously, she was surprised to receive a call from the top. Call? What did you say? Jiang Ning was stunned, but he didn't understand what the FIFA senior management called to find Olia. However, as Jiang Ning's receptionist and life assistant, Olia generally has something to do with Jiang Ning if she finds her. Of course, it's about your previous cancellation of Messi's goal. FIFA informed me that after the game, they will publicly state and explain the penalty for this goal. After all, there are many fans who don't know the rules, and this is also a new addition to FIFA's rules and regulations. So it would be better to explain it publicly. And it's a good thing for you too. Orya gushed, with some nervousness in her tone. Jiang Ning smiled. It should be that she also needs to face the media to make some statements or give interviews. Otherwise, Orya would not have been so excited. Jiang Ning asked, why is it a good thing for me? Of course it's a good thing. Orya explains. This will not only make more people know you, but also show that FIFA takes you seriously. They also do this to protect your reputation and prevent you from being attacked by some malicious fans. When Jiang Ning heard this, he nodded and understood. I know, that's hard work for you, but what I want to say is that I will only do my part. None of that matters to me, and I don't care. Okay, let's go. After that, Jiang Ning smiled at Orya, then turned around and walked to the referee's lounge, and Olia immediately followed, continuing to talk endlessly around Jiang Ning. Anyway, Olia is very excited today, stained with Jiang Ning's light. She can also appear in front of countless media. This can make other receptionists envious. Jiang Ning, you just rest here, and I'll come back after the schedule is arranged. Okay, thanks. After bidding farewell to Orya, Jiang Ning immediately locked the door of the lounge, and Jiang Ning didn't care at all about what public statements and explanations were made. He has nothing to do with him. What he cares about is the reward of the system. He had already saved a lot of fair points before, and his panel properties have also improved a lot. Relatively speaking, it is relatively balanced. In addition to the field of vision, both stamina and speed have been increased to 95 points. And the field control ability has reached 90 points. And the reason why I have not enhanced my vision is also because of the assistance of Eagle's Eye, which is temporarily enough. Now all he needs is to continue to improve his field control. The further back in the game, the stronger the team of the referee. And refereeing the matches of these top teams, Jiang Ning also needs more powerful ability to control the field. Congratulations to the host for completing the penalty for a World Cup event. The host successfully completed the law enforcement of the stadium, and after the system detection, the penalty was fair and rigorous, and 3,000 fair points were rewarded. DDDD. Congratulations to the host for the expansion of law enforcement influence among fans around the world, and this time an additional 10,000 fair points are rewarded. Fair point balance, 48,000 points. Good, it's getting closer and closer to 50,000. As long as you referee one more game, you can have a super draw and hopefully surprise me when the time comes. The lottery pool has been activated. Will the lottery be held immediately? Junior draw. Jiang Ning did not hesitate, and still chose a primary lottery first. At present, what Jiang Ning needs is to improve the panel properties. He planned to slowly balance his various attributes first, and then consider other things when the time came. DDDD. The junior draw is underway. Congratulations to the host, get attribute points, plus 5 allocation points, which can be freely assigned to any attribute. Fair point balance, 46,000 points. Do you want to assign attribute points now? Assign to field control. This was planned by Jiang Ning a long time ago, so there was no hesitation at this time. DDDD. Congratulations to the host, attribute point allocation has been completed. Properties panel, stamina, 95, speed, 95, field of view, 85, field control ability, 95, master shooting technique, 85, physical confrontation, 85, beautiful. Jiang Ning's eyes lit up. Now the field control ability has also improved, reaching 95 points. Speed, stamina, and field control all reach 95 points. 85 points of view. This properties panel is already beautiful. Jiang Ning smiled with satisfaction. Now such an attribute should be smoother and more convenient in the next judgment. Buzz. Suddenly, Jiang Ning felt a warmth rising from inside his body. The system began to transform his body and consciousness. At this time, in a villa in Huaxia, Wu Jin and Xianan were sitting in front of the TV. They had just finished watching the Argentines versus Mexico match. It's already 1 a.m. The game is over. Let's go to sleep. At this time, Xianan looked at the time and pulled Wu Jin. Wait, don't worry. There will be another one at 3 o'clock. Are you willing to go to sleep for such a wonderful game? The World Cup is once every 4 years, and you will definitely regret missing it. Wu Jin's face was full of unfinished looks. He continued, you also saw Jiang Ning's punishment just now, right? Messi is a superstar. The ball just now can be blown or not, but Jiang Ning's move saw it, right? His goal, if it is still blown, it does not count. It does not count. Decisive enough, masters. Xianan nodded, revealing an appreciative look. This is true. This has to be replaced by other referees. I am afraid to draw conclusions directly. Jiang Ning is indeed very professional, and he is not at all intimidated. Xianan said. Wu Jin grinned, isn't that? Can someone I support be at fault? The 3 o'clock game or his referee? At this time, Xianan asked. If she is still the referee of Jiang Ning, she can consider staying up late again. You'll know later. FIFA will announce the list of referees for the following matches in a moment. Wu Jin pointed to the TV and said. When Xianan heard this, he nodded. She said, okay, I'll accompany you for a while. If there is still a match of referee Jiang Ning, then I can allow you to watch it for a while. Wu Jin smiled and said, haha, you want to see it yourself, right? Time passed, and soon after, Orya came to Jiang Ning's lounge again. Jiang Ning opened the door and welcomed Orya in. The schedule is out? Jiang Ning asked. Orya nodded and said, yes, it has come out, and there is still a game for you to referee to enforce the law. It's also the last game of the third round group stage. Team Aurora vs. Team Danmai. Episode 140. Wu Jin said that no matter how late he stays, he must also watch Jiang Ning's law enforcement. Team Huaghua vs. Team Danmai. Jiang Ning nodded. This game is not easy. As the champion of the last World Cup in Russia, the national team is also burdened with a lot of inexplicable pressure. Today, in front of them is the real bitter Lord Danmai team. And the Danmai team is not a weakling. On the contrary, although their overall strength is not extremely good, they are still ranked 10th in the latest FIFA rankings. You know, the national team was only ranked 4th as the last World Cup champion. Although on paper the country has the advantage, who can say for sure in the real game? In football, anything can happen. In addition, this is also a battle for revenge of the Aju national team. In the UEFA Nations Cup, the national team was beaten by Danmai at home and away. This is a painful memory for the world champion enamel national team, and at the same time a bloody lesson. So, in this game, the Danmai team also has a psychological advantage. Both teams are European teams, so this match is also known as the European Civil War, which is a match that almost all fans scream about. The defending champion meets the beautiful fairy tale. Is it the beautiful fairy tale that is continued, or the enamel team breaking the curse of the championship? The Danish Legion encounters the Gallic Rooster, and no one knows what kind of sparks will be created by the collision of these two super platinum generations. Showdowns like this often don't see the last second, and you don't know who is the real winner. As for this so-called champion spell, we have to mention a set of shocking data. The so-called championship curse, generally speaking, is that the previous champion is difficult to achieve any good results in the next World Cup. It's a bit like the hosts of previous World Cups who usually don't lose their first game. It's just that the curse about the host, in this World Cup, has been broken by Karwan Excellent. Don't think it's nothing. You know, in the opening match of previous World Cups, the record of the hosts was 16 wins and 6 draws. The only defeat was in Karl Country in this World Cup. This can only be said that Karl Country is very good, and this World Cup is indeed unexpected. Back to the reigning champion curse. In the history of football, only 2 teams have lifted the Hercules Cup in 2 consecutive editions, the Atari team in 1934 and 1938, as well as the Boshi team in 1958 and 1962. In the 60 years since, no champion team has successfully defended its title. According to this spell, if this year's national team wants to win the championship, it is likely to be more suspended. For the VAR team, whether you can leave the trophy at home is another matter. What they need to worry about is whether they will leave the arena early in an embarrassing way. Because after entering the 21st century, the power of the curse of the defending champion seems to be getting more and more terrifying. It has gone from being unable to successfully defend the title at the beginning, to finally being unable to qualify even for the group stage. And this kind of thing is already familiar to the enamel national team. After winning its first World Cup title in 1998, the team did not score a single goal in the 2002 Sakura World Cup, and left the game in embarrassment. You know, of all the teams participating in the 02 World Cup, only 3 teams did not score a goal and then rolled back home. One of them is Team Shat, and the other is Team Aro. As for the last team, Huaxia fans are very clear, that is, Huaxia men's football team. And this so-called reigning champion curse is not a waste, backed by multiple data. In 2006, Italy won the championship and was at the bottom of the group 4 years later. In 2010, the West Half-Tooth won the championship, and the 4-year gentleman competition was eliminated. In 2014, the Chariot national team won the championship, and 4 years later, the bottom out of the group. Such data is undoubtedly declaring the horror of the spell. This so-called spell also adds a lot of attention and highlights to this game. In addition, there is another reason why this game will be followed by countless people. That's the top player of the national team, Mbappé. The 19-year-old Mbappé became famous in the World Cup in Russia 4 years ago. Nicknamed by fans, he is the only player who drives a sports car on the field. Although it is a joke, it is undoubtedly not to show the unparalleled speed of Mbappé. This is Mbappe's second World Cup appearance, at a time when he is only 23 years old. A rising star, shining in football, is followed by countless fans. Compared with Sigong, Neymar, and Messi, Mbappé is still very young, but Mbappé has become one of the superstars who are extremely close to them. There is no doubt that when Sigong and others retire, the current football world will be the world of Mbappé. All in all, the attention to this game is very high, so who will referee this game is also expected by fans. Soon, the news that Jiang Ning was about to referee this match was announced by FIFA. Team Huaguo vs Team Danmai. Referee, Jiang Ning. Huaxia, is Jiang Ning again. The last match of the 3rd round of the group stage is still referee Jiang Ning. After this news was released, it immediately triggered a fierce discussion among fans from all sides. Especially Huaxia fans are even more proud. After receiving the news, Brother Qian and the others turned back with a scream, and quickly poured into the audience. They are all old churros, so they are also very tricky when choosing a location, specifically picking the meeting point between the fans of the 2 teams. At that time, Jiang Ning's red card shook, and they cheered, so that the fans of both teams could see it, and there were definitely many fans of the Huaxia referee. In addition, this news also made many Huaxia fans boil and poured into the live broadcast room. Inside a villa in Huaxia, after Wu Jin and Xianan heard the news, they looked at each other and smiled, and they both understood each other's thoughts. Xianan turned and walked into the kitchen to prepare some food for Wu Jin. Then she also sat on the sofa, quietly waiting for the start of the game. Wu Jin smiled and said, "You also plan to stay up late to watch this one? Of course, this is the last game of the group stage, and the referee is still our Huaxia referee. Of course, we must support it," Xianan said. Wu Jin nodded and gave a thumbs up to the direction of the electric 5.8 viewing screen. Such a game is worth watching. Such a referee is also worthy of our Huaxia people's support. Time passes. At this time, Orya reminded Jiang Ning that the game was about to begin. "Jiang Ning, the time is almost up. It's time to get ready to leave for the arena." "Okay, I see." Jiang Ning nodded and got up to tidy up his clothes meticulously. Immediately afterwards, he took out the red and yellow cards from the box and carefully put them in his pocket. "Let's go." Immediately, Jiang Ning opened the door of the lounge and strode towards the outside. At this time, the assistant referee and the linesman are already waiting here. After seeing Jiang Ning come out, he immediately followed behind him and went to the competition site.